What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? If you change your own oil on your Ram 1500, you know the Ram oil filter placement is just horrible. It's gonna make a mess. Well, in this video, I'm gonna show you how not to do so. So let's just get right into it. Let's go. All right, guys, so a lot of YouTubers are gonna show you the trick at the end of the video so that you have to watch the entire video to figure out what the trick is. Well, I'm not gonna do that. So the trick to change your oil on a Ram 1500 and not make a mess when you remove the oil filter is this right here. All right, guys, so in my case, I had to loosen up the oil filter with an oil wrench. And then what I did was I was able to loosen up by hand. When I got to that point, I just slipped the 1 gallon Ziploc bag over the oil filter and made sure it was as far up as possible, and then just slowly loosen it up, and then just dumped right in here. Saved me a ton of cleanup. This was probably the cleanest oil change I've ever done in my entire life. I'm not BSing you guys. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's just jump right into this video. You already know what the trick is. Let's see how well it performed. So let's just get right into the oil change. Let's go. First thing you want to do is start your truck, let it idle for about 5 to 10 minutes. What that's going to do is it's going to warm up the engine oil. Oil has a thinner viscosity when it's hotter. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow it to drain quicker and also more completely. So let's go ahead and fire this Ram up and get to it. And then after we get it fired up, main thing you want to do, hit that parking brake. And of course, for safety, you want to put something underneath the tires. I don't actually have one of those exact wheel chocks. Simple way to figure out what oil you need, it's right on the cat, 5W20, 7 quarts. All right, guys, the tools you need for this job: oil wrench, ratchet, 13mm socket, and of course the Ziploc bag. All right, guys, 13mm. Hardest part, getting the Ziploc bag around the oil filter. What I did was I loosened the oil filter with the oil wrench prior to putting the bag over it, and loosen it from there. All right, guys, it's kind of hard to see, but we got the bag over the oil filter. Now we can unloosen it by hand. Well, it looks like the bag might actually be a good idea. I got it off. I got the filter in the bag. Now the goal is not to drop all the oil. Look at that. It worked. All that dang oil in that filter all in the bag. So guys, if you're gonna change your oil, this is definitely the way to go. This was a lifesaver. Look at all that oil that would have went everywhere on everything. Whew, boy, that was a good idea. There's the oil filter in the bag, and look at all that oil that we saved. That was probably gonna go all over everything. So if you're gonna do your oil change yourself, definitely use the Ziploc bag trick. It was definitely worth it. Mobile One Extended Performance Oil 5W20 full synthetic, and we did a matching Mobile One Extended Performance filter, model number M1113A. All right, guys, so if you don't know, you want to basically lubricate that rubber gasket, and then I put just a tad bit oil in there. Normally, if I fill it up, it goes everywhere, it becomes a mess, so I don't do that. So let me go ahead, fill this up, get this oil filter back on. It's about to rain, and I need to get this wrapped up. All right, guys, got the hand tied. No need to use a wrench or anything crazy like that. Will be sufficient, I would say. All right, guys, just hand tying the filter. Let's go ahead and clean off the drain plug and then fill this thing back up. All right, guys, now since all the hard work is done, all I gotta do is put the oil in and we're done. And while you're pouring it in, it's always a good idea to look under the truck, make sure it's not leaking out. And it's not. Buddy was doing his oil change, and he forgot to put the bolt on. Put a whole cord in, it's all on the dang ground. All right. And then the last thing you want to do is go ahead and reset your oil life. The truck just needs to be in run. And you just want to hold down the OK button right here. And then boom, 100%. You're done. All right, guys, you saw from the previous clips, the Ziploc bag did its thing. It definitely allowed me to get the entire oil filter and all the oil that's in the oil filter in the Ziploc bag. I could not be happier. This was like the cleanest oil change I've ever done. Every time I change my oil, it's always like the messiest thing. For some reason, I always have to spill something somewhere, and I'm always putting like tons of kitty litter down for a day or two just to soak up all the oil I spilled. Again, I'm not even lying when I said this was the cleanest oil change I've ever done. I could not be happier with this little trick. All right, guys, so I did want to do a cost analysis on this oil change. change. So without including the oil wrench, just the oil in the filter itself, 2 gallons of Mobil 1 and 1 Mobil 1 oil filter was about $65 before tax. Positive thing about this is next time I go to change my oil, I just need about 1 gallon of oil and also oil filter, so it's gonna probably cost me about 40 bucks because I still have 2 quarts left in my other 1 gallon that I used on the truck this time. Another side tip for recycling your oil, instead of just dumping it out in your backyard, what I do is I put all my dirty oil back into my oil jugs, take the oil jugs to Firestone, and then they dump it into their big barrel. Another day, hang out with your boy PA. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Peace.